Welcome to Learning Your Lines, an introduction to human design, profiles, and angles. Your lines being those hexagram lines, like for today we're in gate 37, and here's the lines, the gate 37. Today we're in the first line. So that's where we talk about lines. But lines also in the format of, what am I here to actually be? For the other, for myself, depending on your design. How do I filter the data of the world, this Maya that we live in, the consciousness that I am? Who am I in this world? What is my role? What are my lines? And here with the hexagram structure, we're going to use this house metaphor to help you remember what each of the lines are there to embody, what their purpose is. Part of fulfilling your life path, your purpose in life, is embodying your costume, your profile. These words that I'm using, if it's just a little bit too much, overwhelming, don't worry, just take it all in, absorb, and as we go through, you'll get to understand this. Repetition is the mother of all learning, so the more that you get familiar with this, the more easier it's going to be to learn the language and to speak it and to live it, to be it. So now, when we're looking at the hexagrams, this is an ancient diagram of the I Ching. There are 64, as you all know. So 64 of those hexagrams, every single hexagram has 6 lines. Those 6 lines are either broken, like this one at the bottom, it's a yin line, or solid, a yang line. Yin means female, yang means male. It's like this receptive, or this, pushing outward, this pushing upward, this dynamic energy of yang force. So when we talk about the I Ching, every single one of those 64 hexagrams have either a yin line or a yang line. Now, they're not static. They're always in movement. The only time things are static is in that moment, in that instant that we have the imprinting. But all of those hexagrams in the world, they're just moving about. They're moving around, and they have changing lines. Some of them are changing to other lines. But when we're looking at just profile, we're looking at that snapshot. So what is your snapshot? What is your line? Lines are labeled from the bottom up, 1 through 6. As we go through this presentation, you're going to see the dynamics of how these lines, the lower trigram and the upper trigram meaning 3, this group of 3, that's how we can divide this hexagram, hex meaning 6, into 2 different parts. And we're going to put them right next to each other so I can explain the dynamics of how the upper trigram relates to the lower trigram. Now, when we're looking in your human design chart, where your profile comes from, 70% of the energy that creates who you are is going to be on this right-hand side, the personality. These lines right here, what are the keynotes for these lines? Anybody want to chat in there or just test yourself? What is a keynote? It's any. You can just throw them out there, as many as you think of, but every single one of these 64 hexagrams, all first lines relate to each other. They resonate to each other. They have a similarity in quality, in frequency. That is why we can take all of those, any profile, no matter where your hexagram sun and earth is, it can be exactly attributed to a certain quality of behavior. And we get the line value from gate 10, which is the gate of behavior. So now we're just, these broad generics that we're using as hexagram line values, we're going to cover in this particular presentation. So I hope you guys had your chance to write down what you're resonating to as far as the quality of the first line. Now over here, that's the personality, that's the energy that you're going to resonate to consciously. It's what you're going to think of as yourself. You're going to read that about your hexagram and you're going to go, yeah, that's me. I recognize that. Now over here on the other side, 88 degrees before you were born of the sun's movement, there is a different, always going to be a different line value because we have an 88-degree difference. And I'm going to show you how that looks on a few more slides. But here on the unconscious, What is this person resonating to? What are the qualities of a third line? If you wanted to go ahead and type that out or write it down or share that in the group. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask your friends there, our comrades in learning human design. I'm sure we'll happy to help you. So, third line, qualities. And if you have questions that can't be answered for some reason, hold them till the end, and we'll talk more about that when we get a chance to see the screens of each other again. So, or I can see your screen where you're chatting. So here we have an example of, see, it's basically we're looking at the same thing. Right here in this last place, I'm looking at just the top two. This is the Incarnation cross. In your design, if you take it out and you put it into the body graph, into the mandala, the human design mandala, this graph shows us, oh, for this person, her birthday, hi, that's me, Incarnation cross of contagion, the sun was right here in 30. Now, the sun is always going to be exactly opposite in the wheel, and here we have gate 29 for me as part of my Incarnation cross, my conscious sun, core essence, and earth, my how I ground that essence in my personality. So now 88 degrees, what is that? Oh, the sun was actually over here in gate 14 3 months before I was born. And on the opposite side we have the earth, gate 8. Now down below this particular differentiation we have 6 lines, right? So now the line value, you can see between these little sections of the hexagrams, there's lines there. So we have a place that we were imprinted. So wherever that line is, no matter where it is in all of this entire hexagram wheel, if you have it in the third line, you resonate. There's a feeling of recognition about all of these other gates in the third line, okay? So if you're a third line personality like me, you're going to resonate to go ahead and try and read for your particular line value, your profile value, whether you're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Read all of the hexagram descriptions and all of the other gates and see for that line, whatever your line is, if you resonate with it, if you recognize it. That's how we have some genetic continuity as well. So when we're looking at, you can see here I have the 3 and the 5. There's always this offset. There's not ever going to be a profile that has a 3-3. You have the closest thing that comes to it is like a 6-3, where the 6th line actually operates like a 3 in the first 30 years of its life because it has a tripartite life process, a transitional mutative life process. But there's never going to be exactly the same number. You're always going to have 12 profiles, and we're going to go over each of them to help you recognize how that works in your body graph. So this is me. Hi. I'm a human design certified professional, an analyst, a living your design guide, and a BG5 consultant. I'm about to finish my Rave ABC's teacher training. And this is my practice session with you guys to talk about the lines. So thanks for being here and thanks for testing yourself with me. So now we're going to discover your profile. Your profile, your costume, consists of one of these 6 lines. So here we have line 1. It's called, if you guessed Investigator earlier, you're right. Line 2, this behavior is the Hermit. Line 3 is the Martyr. Line 4 is an Opportunist. Line 5 is a Heretic. Line 6 is a Role Model. So now these line values, you might look at them and go, yeah, I really resonate with that. You might not. Sometimes the reason that you don't resonate with it, let's say, for example, if you remember Ra's origination story about the human design system, what was he doing when he was living on the island of Ibiza? How was he living? What was his behavior when he was living on the island of Ibiza? As quote unquote, he called himself not self, not in alignment with his true nature, not being the heretic that he was here to be. If you answered Hermit, you're right. He was being living more like a hermit. So one of the things I want you to just be aware of is that if you're not living the costume of your purpose, if you're not in alignment with that, there's no way you can fulfill either your personal destiny, your transpersonal karma, or your fixed fate. Those are the three angles, and I'll show you later on, the three angles that all of these 12 profiles can fall under. Okay, so when we're looking at your human design chart, back over here when we're looking at this right here, remember that this right here, the sun and earth, is 70% of who you are. Then we have the nodal environment, your path, what you're designed to see, where you're designed to tread, who you're designed to help, where your purpose is fulfilled. Then we have your driving force, your moon. We have all of the rest of these different line values. These are nuances and subtleties of who you are. So, how many fifth lines do I have in my design? You don't have to count them, I'll tell you. 10. I have 10 fifth lines. So I really strongly resonated with the Heretic when I first came to human design. I'm like, yeah, that's me. Everybody always thinks I'm going to save them. You know, projecting onto me that I can come in and save the day, that I can make things work, that I can fix things for them. But then I would step in, I would say yes. I have this gate 29, I'm going to have the gate of saying yes. I'm in my not self spontaneous and not knowing that I'm designed to be patient and wait and feel for clarity, but jump ahead despite the nervousness, despite the fear, and see what happens, just wanting to have an experience and see what happens. So how was I behaving before human design? Not in alignment with this resilient, adaptable, mutative, trial and error, but okay with it, making mistakes through life. I was not operating in alignment with my true self. So if you come to human design and you take a look at your profile, so I want you to just look at the right-hand side of your body graph. I want you to look at the stuff in black and see what your profile is. Now, as I go through these next steps where I talk about the hexagram, the places on this house to help you identify and remember and ground this in your memory and your experience, I want you to just really pay attention to the line value that is yours and see if you resonate. If you'd like to share, feel free to do so. If you share and you're really resonating with it, you've resonated with it all of your life, good for you, awesome. I'm really happy for you. I want you to just be aware. It's not about doing anything about it. It's not about making yourself wrong or somebody else right or whatever. It's just about seeing for you, okay? So now let's look into these particular line values. Line 1, if you could type in for me your, besides Investigator, what are the other line qualities of line 1? We think about the foundation of a house. We're looking at the foundation of a house. What's at the bottom? This guy is actually looking under the foundation of the house. He's looking inward. He's introspective. That's another line value of line 1. So all of your first lines are going to be introspective. What is the nature of this all about? Today we're in the gate of friends and family. We're in gate 37. The first line is about looking inward. It is, let's see, where is my card so I can read it to you? It is the mother, the father. That's the essence of the family, okay? So every single first line that you have is going to resonate to introspection. What is the cornerstone of family? Mother, father. Without mother, father, you have no family, right? So you can see how it kind of relates. The behavior of a first line is looking inward, studying, right? So what other lines, ideas can you come up with for the first line? Please feel free to write. If you know your personal first line, so say you're a 40 with the first line. What is the first line for that? Please feel free to share in that chat room so that people can start to get a sense for what a first line is. You might want to have your Ravy Ching out in handy because that'll be helpful too for us to gather keynotes and to have this experience together. So your first line sometimes can be very insecure. It won't feel secure unless it has a solid foundation, solid foundation of investigating or knowledge, some kind of essence. A first line, when you're looking at any of the hexagrams. The first line is the essence of that hexagram. Okay? So if you're a first line profile, do you resonate with being an investigator? Excuse me. Do you resonate with maybe possibly having some insecurity around whatever it is about your life? Do you have this essence of wanting to have a solid, secure foundation? Do you recognize that? Do you resonate with that? So it is important for you, if you're a first line, to study, to become an authoritarian. There's another word. That word comes from gate 7, which is the gate of being our role of interaction and interaction with others. So a first line is an authoritarian. You're here to be an authority, to have a solid grasp of whatever your hexagram is all about. Okay? So hopefully that helps. Now when we look at a 2, what is a 2 doing? And why would he be in a window? And why would the lights be on and the curtain be drawn? Looks like it's at, or up. It looks like it's at night. So there's this projection happening where you can, it's almost like you're watching this screen and you see this person, that very clear, defined outline. What is a 2 like? What is the essence of a 2? If you remember in that last slide, we were talking about the line, the behavior. What's the behavior of a 2? A hermit, somebody who is a natural, somebody who just projects themselves, has this unconscious, free, not unconscious, sorry, that's a bad word, but not forced, this there's another word for it if somebody could help me out there. It's not needed to make any effort at it. This easy, free quality of having something be that they're really good at, they're naturally good at. They have no idea how they're so good at it, but that's what they're here to embody. So there's this unaware that they're a natural. Projection is the keynote. That is really going to help you understand what all second lines are about. They don't like to study, not like the first line. They're a natural, they're the hermit. They just kind of want to do their own thing. They don't want to be bothered. They have this outward projection that they're unaware of. They don't know how they do what they do. They just do. So they're really good at that. Okay, so that's the second line. Now when we move to the third line, you can see, oh, we're not at the foundation of the house, the bottom of the house. We're not in the window, just sitting there doing our own thing. Here, we're actually on a ladder. Looks like a pretty precarious situation. And what kind of painter puts the paint all the way down there at where it can actually pull on or fold the ladder? We have the third line. Like we have the hazard symbol here that the artist put there. This is, a third line is somebody who, what? What do? They're a line that is actually doing something. They're doing something. What are they doing? They're making a discovery. They're making mistakes. They're having trial and error. And that's one of the challenges in this line, is that there tends to be a lot of error. And us in our society don't really value what doesn't work. We only give accolades to people who do make things work, right? So we have a lot of the population, a significant portion of the population, who are either third lines or are experiencing that third line process because they have a sixth line in their profile. And that sixth line has a very innocent quality about it. It doesn't have the same resilience and adaptability that a third line does, and so its life can be very, very challenging. So too can the third line, but they're built for it. So what other comments can you make for the third line quality in someone? Oh, anarchist. There's their interaction with other people. Anything else besides the martyr, besides mutation, besides adaptation? What are the qualities of a third line? What are you here to embody, to experience as part of your path and your purpose of fulfilling your personal destiny, or your karma with the other, or your fixed fate that you're here to experience? Next, we have, hopefully I'm not going too fast for you. I don't know what time it is, but yeah, when this presentation is on, I can't see what time it is, so I'm going to keep moving. Here you have a fourth line. What do you notice about this fourth line? He's not even in the house. apparently it looks like. I guess when we have a circle, it's looking into the house. But what is he doing, this fourth line? Looks like he's schmoozing, right? What does a fourth line do? What is it about? It's a line of networking, externalization. What is the behavior? What's the fourth line in gate 10? Opportunist. What else is he doing? He has influence with people he knows. Doesn't everybody who know, like, and trust you tend to want to gravitate towards you, and you know, you have influence with them when it comes to whatever it is that you're all about networking about, you know? So that is one of the ways that it has its ability to influence with others. It's a core part of your life of your fourth line profile. You are the friend. You have a network. Everything about your life depends on your network, the strength of your network. That's where all your opportunities come from. This is where you maybe abdicate sometimes. You step down and you're okay with the rule of the majority because you're the friend, you're the one who wants everybody to have the opportunity, not just yourself, you know? Sometimes, maybe, possibly. So it is about opportunities for yourself, but also your network. How can I build up other people? How can I, you know, bring these other two people together, particularly if you're a projector. Projectors are really good at recognizing, you know, recognizing possibilities, potentials, recognizing others. As your recognition capacity is part of how you have your success. So how are you bringing people together and building your network, strengthening your network with this brotherhood, sisterhood, more keynotes for you type of energy. So if you're a profile fourth line, please write down your line, maybe your gate for us so that we can share and understand and communicate with each other. Study this particular line value. Now next, we go to, ooh, this is dark. Why is it so dark in there? Look at this house. We're not looking inside the house. We're just seeing a shadow of somebody here. Why are we seeing a shadow? What is the keynote of a fifth line personality? Why would it be a shadow? Why wouldn't the lights be on like the two? What is this fifth line hiding from? Why would they hide? Go ahead and write down the fifth line energies, the keynotes that you know. Well, I know one, marketer. Why would it be marketer? Why would a fifth line market? Naturally, they're a heretic. They have a message, right? They're here to stand up on their soapbox and spread their message, depending on their design. But they have some kind of unique, innovative, different way of looking at the world. And so people look to them and call them a heretic. You heretic. But you know what's important for these fives? They need to have something practical to deliver to the other. When we're talking about the fifth line, he's not looking in at himself. He's looking outward, and he's seeing what can be fixed. He's seeing the problems that can be solved. Everyone, all of the different lines, all of us are looking up at that fifth line going, that person knows the answer. That person can solve my problems. That person can rescue me. The savior is another line, keynote for the fifth line. What else do you have for me? So here, projected upon. Projected upon. Anyone who is a fifth line personality is never, ever, ever going to be accurately seen by another person. Think about the ramifications of that. What you're seeing about a fifth line is the projection of who they are. It's this projection field. It's this possibility for having a really a positive initial first perspective or encounter with this person, where you think, they're going to save me, they're going to rescue me, they're going to ride in on this white horse and solve all my problems. That's what a fifth line. Everyone's looking. It's the epitome. It's the completion of this hexagram. It's the end. When we get to the sixth line, it's no longer really part of that hexagram anymore. That sixth line is more about transition. So what are your other, general, behavior in interaction. The general is another keynote of the fifth line. So hopefully you got all that and more. Let's move on to the 6th line. Now, what's the 6th line doing on the top of the house? Kicking back, relaxing. Well, they must be in their 6th line process part of life. They're definitely not in the first 30 years. The 6th line has a tripartite life process where there's very distinct, distinguishable phases of their life. The first 30 years, 3rd line process. Trial and error, experience. How do you get to be, what is the name of this 6th line in gate 10? What are they here to be ultimately when they're 50 and onward? Who are they here to be for? What are they for? They're here to be a trusted role model, a leader, right? How do you get to be a trusted role model or leader in life if you're only just sitting on the roof and watching life go by? You can't. You have to have experience. You have to have trial and error. You have to have this mutative, experiential road that you went through. Now, in the first 30 years of your life, it's kind of like you're crawling around like a caterpillar, where you're bumping into things. I don't think caterpillars can see very well, do you? They just don't really have the kind of experience in life that a butterfly, ultimately what it becomes, a butterfly has. So you can think of your first 30 years, if you're a 6th line profile, first 30 years you're crawling around like a caterpillar, learning from the ground up what it is like, down with the troops, you know what I mean? You're here to cocoon yourself. What happens is around age 30, you have this cocooning process where you pull back away from all of that trial and error, all of that experience that you're having in life. You're licking your wounds and you're retreating a bit, depending on your profile or your rest of your design. And you're observing. You become the observer. So let me go into this. The observer is one of the keynotes of this line of transition. Every 6th line in all of the hexagrams is a transition line to the next hexagram, the 1st line of the next hexagram. So it's not so concerned with its own gate process. It's concerned with the entire circuitry process. It is the observer. It's here to have a transition and be that role model. So what are some other keynotes that you recognize besides leadership, besides being, objective, being an optimist, being an administrator, being a role model, having attraction? You know, what is this energy like for you? What does it say in your human design? So go ahead and type that out or share if you like. So was that helpful, this hexagram? Most of you have probably been familiar with it because it's an essential part of how we teach the profiles, the particular line values, to help you understand the difference between the qualities of each of the lines. So you could look at somebody's Incarnation cross. I'm a cross of Contagion. Another cross of Contagion, completely different than me because they're not the same type. They're not the same authority. They're not the same line values. They're not the same colors, tones, and bases underneath. They're not the same planets, all that stuff, right? I have a friend who was born same day. We went to school together. And I am not at all like what she is, even though we have the same birthday. You know, not the same time, not the same exact place, but same birthday. Not exactly the same at all. These are just really broad, general thematics that you're going to recognize as yourself. It's part of how you fulfill your destiny, your fate, your karma, your process in life. This is the costume you're wearing. If you've got it as your personality in your design, okay? So now we're going to move over into helping you understand the relationship between the 1, 2, 3, the lower trigram, and the 4, 5, and 6, the upper trigram, just to help you remember how they relate to each other, because there is a harmonic quality between the ways that they interact with each other. So now if we're talking about profiles, there are some harmonic profiles where there's a harmony between the conscious earth and sun and the unconscious earth and sun, right? So we're going to take a look at how those work. Here we have, I've pulled the line harmonies, pulled the hexagrams apart so that you can see, rather than stacking them on top of each other, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, we're talking about here on the left, 1, 2, and 3, and 4, 5, and 6. That's how I remember them. So now if we take a look at the first line, what is the similarity between the first line Investigator and the fourth line Opportunist? What do they both have in common? If we're just taking a look at this particular first line, where is he? He's at the foundation, right? He's at the bottom of the first floor. So this fourth line, it's a 2-story house. Where is this fourth line at? He's at the foundation of the second floor. So they both have this foundational quality for their trigrams. That's how they relate to each other. While the first line, here's the difference. First line is looking inward. Fourth line is externalizing, okay? So we have the Investigator and the Opportunist that happen to have a harmonic, a difference but a sameness quality between the way that they relate to each other. And that's how you can remember harmonies, okay? Just on a basic ground level. I tell you, if you start to remember these keynotes that we're going over in this particular presentation, you're going to be able to put together a much clearer picture of your own chart and other people's charts when you're looking at it, to just grasp the essence of what we're talking about when it comes to any of the gates. Mix these keynotes with what you know about the gates, and you'll be able to start to string together poetry that will really help you understand what this is all about for that person. You might start to describe things for them or for yourself. If a projector, it's really hard for yourself. But if you're doing it for somebody else, you start to describe something to them and they'll go, yeah, that's me. And it's really rewarding when you get to do that, to decipher your treasure map or somebody else's. So now let's look over into the second line. What does the second line have in common, this Hermit, have in common with the fifth line? Oops. Where is that fifth? Oh yeah, he's up here. Light's not on for the fifth line. Well, that Heretic, what does he have in common with the Hermit? What are the qualities that make them more in harmony? What is that one word? Starts with a P if you don't remember it, what that one word is. They are both about projection. This is an area where they both have a harmonic. While the projection here is the second line projects it outward, the fifth line is actually being projected upon. Other people thinking that that's what they're all about. Just sensing that this is what that person's all about. Just from that initial first contact, that's what they think this person is about. There's this projection field around a fifth line that can be hard even for someone who knows them really, 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 really well. I have been in a relationship with someone who's a fifth line personality for almost 5 years now, sometimes off, most time on. But it is really challenging to get away from that projection field that they have and see them for who they are. So that's the energy, the harmony between those two lines, okay? Now next we're looking at, last but not least, hey, it's me, the third line, Martyr. This precarious traveling up the ladder here. The transition line, oops, I said the word. Well, that's the word. The transition line between the first floor and the second floor, the Martyr. What is the similarity, the harmony between that and the sixth line? Besides the fact that the sixth line has that first 30 years tripartite life process where they have this trial and error experience. What is the word that's in between? Transition. There's this energy, this similarity between those two. So now that we've gone through this in this way, you actually have seen these people. I've tried to describe it to you in a very visceral, experiential way. You should not ever have to try and remember. You should be able to remember this without forgetting that the first, second, and third, put it on one side, put the fourth, fifth, and sixth on the other, and hey, you've got the foundation, you've got the projection, you've got the transition. Qualities, the harmonic values of any hexagram, every single hexagram that you look at. So now when you take a look at a gate, you can see it's line 2. You don't even have to read the quality of that particular gate. You can just apply the Investigator to all first lines, the Hermit to all second lines, the Martyr to all third lines. Does that make sense? Is it helpful for you? Opportunist for fourth lines, Heretic for fifth lines, and the Role Model for sixth lines. Role Model when they become 50 and above. They have that maturing process. As a, what are we? A Uranian, nine-centered being, we have a very much longer lifespan and a slower maturing process. So around age 40 is when we really get to have our experience of maturity in this life. Where Ra called it, people who were below age 40-ish, you know, they were pretty much not very useful in the world because they're still going through their maturity process, okay? So this should help you understand how line harmonies work. So now we get into this slide. So if you're new to human design, please don't worry. It looks very overwhelming, but you'll get to understand it. It's really not that hard to see. I'm going to show it to you in two different ways so that you can discover what your angle is all about. What is my angle? What the heck is my angle? Okay, so let's say we put all of the profiles on the left-hand side. I put the personality here in large format because that's what you're going to resonate to. Doesn't mean that the design on the other side it means any less. Had to put them smaller here because there's actually a movement through these profiles. I'm going to show you in the next slide exactly how that movement is in a little bit clearer format. But we're looking at these profiles. You have that investigative martyr who has a theme of introspection and adaptation. That's their life experience. The gate theme is what they're going to be focused on. Anybody in blue, all this lower trigram stuff is going to be about that gate theme. That's what they're concerned with. The right angle, personal destiny. All of these people in blue, right angle. What is right angle about? It's about your own personal life process. It's not necessarily about the people that you meet, but your own development, your own experience with life. All right, so that's how we look at profiles. So let's say you're a 1-4. Why is it that we have this movement like this? It's because there's an 88-degree difference between the sun when you were born and the sun when you were imprinted before you were born, that 88-degree difference. That's why there's this movement here. That's why we have the evolution of the profiles of the lines through the hexagram, through the whole mandala. This is the evolutionary movement that you're seeing. Now, I don't want you to think of one being not as good as 6. It's all needs to be there. It's all perfect for your process. So don't try to look at something and go, I wish I was a 6 line instead of a 3. No, you're perfect as you are. So looking at this introspection, externalization, this is all about their own, looking at their gate process, and then unconsciously, their design, they're externalizing whatever that gate is about. Their life experience is their personal destiny, discovering who they are. If they're a generator, for themselves. If they're a projector, for the other. They're a manifestor, what they're here to, how they're here to impact. You know, how have their impact and have their peace. If they're a reflector, what they're here to be surprised about, who they are, with they being everybody at large because they're sampling, right? They're taking in all kinds of data. So you can see how this is applied. These are layerings. I'm showing you the formula for the profiles. So next we have projection and universalization. There's something interesting right there. This introspection, externalization, projection, universalization. What are these two line qualities to each other? What is the first line to the fourth line? What is the second line to the fifth line? What's their commonality? Oh, it's right there. Projection, projection, foundation, foundation. These are harmonies to each other. So now you can see where the harmonic profiles are coming from. Oops, 3-5. Hi, not me. I'm not harmonic. I've got adaptation going on and universalization. There is this energy there for experience and then finding out what doesn't work and being able to tell, hey guys, watch out for that wall. Don't go into that wall. That doesn't work. So next we have the 3 and 6. Ooh, there we go. Here it happens again. Here's another harmonic profile. Now, looking at this chart, you would think that there's an equal amount of harmonic profiles compared to non-harmonic profiles. Not true. We'll see in the next slides. I actually put in some information to help you see why that's not true. And I need some water, pardon me, for a moment. It was full. I have a drinking problem. I have water all over me. Third line. I was trying to read my Facebook feed. No problem, Cheryl. I'm glad you guys can help me figure out how this works here. So what do we have next? What do we have? We have the next, oh, look at that. 4-1 now we have. A 4-1. 4-1. What is that? Externalization and introspection. And this should be moved down a little bit. Actually, it is there in the right place, but it's confusing with the different color change. But this is the only one that is an angle of juxtaposition. What is juxtaposition? Right next to each other, right? There's this fixed fate that they experience in life. It is not about being pulled into their own personal destiny. It's not about being pulled into somebody else's trip with their transpersonal karma you got to fulfill. It's actually this narrow line that you walk. You're not designed to be pulled away by these other things. You're more of a transition line between the two types of angles. You're here to draw them together, to have this narrow line that you walk that has a very clear, definite purpose that you cannot be swayed from. That's what the fixed fate is about. Now, when we look at these last pieces in red, the left angle, not as many left angles as we have right angles, right? Why is that? Because the right angles are more of the experiential road of actually discovering the research and development process of these profiles. If we think about all of our purpose and costumes, anybody who's down here in blue, the right angle with the personal destiny, has these experiences that they're testing out. They're coming into the world without any kind of experience memory that's clouding their judgment. They're like a new open vessel to what the world is for them to discover, to experience, to do that scientific experimentation with, and to find what either really works or what doesn't work on the material plane. And what happens with the left angle, if you're a left angle, you come in with this transpersonal karmic memory, this like ability to recognize people from your past, because remember, all of us are eternal, right? We've all got this personality crystal that's riding on top of the head that has been around for whenever the world was born, and we have this kind of experience of coming in and sensing that there's other people out there that we have some kind of karmic connection with. So when you encounter someone like this, either as a 5-1, 5-2, 6-2, 6-3, you're going to have this flash maybe of insight or intuition. Depending on your design, you might have this feeling of recognition, and that other person might come to you and ask you a question. So now, or maybe had to have some kind of relationship with you, some kind of dynamic. That karmic interaction you have with the other, depending on whether it's right for you according to your strategy and authority, is going to give you some kind of benefit, possibly for the other as well, definitely for you though, because there's some kind of karmic interaction that you need to have in order for your life to be, your purpose to be fulfilled. So think about this. If your incarnation cross is something really challenging, I'm gonna just give you a cross like individualism, or cross like confrontation, something that's really powerful, that has a lot of juice behind it. Are you going to need to use that cross all the time, every moment of every day? There is going to be, however, someone that you have to have some kind of interaction with in order for your purpose to be fulfilled. See how different that is from the right angle? The right angle isn't necessarily here for other people to have that kind of interaction. We're looking inward, right? First, second, and third line profiles, the lower trigram, they're more concerned with the gate theme. See that gate theme? It's not necessarily about the channel theme as it is with the 5-1 and the 5-2. It's not about the circuit theme as it is with the 6-2 and the 6-3. So this this energy for the left angle, less of them around, because they're here to actually take what the right angle learned and have this universalization of it. Ooh, heretic, right? Perfect for them. Take only what's practical, deliver it according to your strategy and authority in alignment with who you are, and you get to fulfill your transpersonal karma. With the 6th line, the personality of transition, of role model, of being a trusted leader, somebody who administrates, you know, somebody who other people go to and just automatically call them the fool on the hill. The people would look up and go, yes, that's the one that we can trust. Whether or not you can trust them, you really should use your own authority to decide, but this person is not necessarily looking at their own personal gate themes. It's all about the circuit. So hopefully that helps you a little bit with understanding where these 12 profiles are coming from. The 5-1 being universalization, the heretic, investigator, universalization and introspection, inspection too. And then 5-2, ooh, another harmonic profile where we have similarities and projection. And here we have the heretic, hermit. Then we have the role model, 6th line, role model, hermit. And then we have the role model, martyr, right? With their energies of transition and adaptation, transition and projection. So that should help you understand more about how people are here to fulfill their life purpose.